Welcome to Money Mondays with Melissa, where we talk about financial empowerment while exploring financial assistance available through local, state, and federal governments each month with a diverse group of subject matter experts. Chicago, are you ready to get financially empowered? Well, we've got just what you need. Without further ado, give it up for your Chicago City Treasurer, Melissa Conyears-Ervin.
We are here. It's amazing. Y'all got up early, and I want to say thank y'all for showing up early. This is amazing. This is beautiful for us to come together for a wonderful afternoon. There's going to be a lot of great people that you all will see, but we're going to set it off with this group and this panel right now.
Yes.
I'm just excited to have this great conversation with these two incredible individuals here, and hopefully we can have something that you all leave with that you can take with you on your journey as we're doing this journey of life. So thank y'all for coming on out. Let's get to it.
What part of Chicago you from?
West Side.
West Side.
Listen,
West
all right.
Side?
So let's just make it all clear. We all are family here. Let me hear what is the North Side in here? North Side? I love you, North. South Side in here? Okay. West Side in this piece. All right, so we all family, but I hail from the great West Side, the best side.
Hey.
But listen, I got love for the North Side, and of course, all my South Side loved ones, nothing but love for the South Side. Yes, indeed. Where you from?
I'm from the South Side.
Hey.
I see we got two West Siders though, so I'm gonna have to be careful.
It's love. It's love. It's love. All of it here. And that's what's really important about us coming together. Whether you from out west, from you out south, north side, we have to come together as a collective. You know what I mean? We are Chicago, and that's what's most important. I spent a lot of time in Los Angeles. I spent a lot of time in New York, and I represent Chicago full throttle. And it really doesn't matter what side of the town we're from. We are the great city of Chicago, and this community is like no other. Hey, baby, how you doing? How you doing? Thank y'all for showing up. So, yeah, this is fun. So, I tend to jump in and do me so people can understand that how much I love the city, how much I love us, and the community in itself, man. Without the community, without Chicago, without us, without the people who look like us and have our experiences, man, I wouldn't be where I am. So I appreciate y'all. So anytime that I can get in a room like this, man, it feels like family. So we family. Is it okay to say we family? All right, that's what it is. So let's get through it.
Melissa, I'm actually curious, Madam Treasurer.
Yes, ma'am.
What is your favorite project that Mr. Tate is in, your all-time favorite? He's done a lot. Huge body of work.
I wouldn't dare choose because I'm going to tell you, on the last episode that I just watched, I thought for certain you were coming out in that episode, and I said, you know what? They saved my brother. They made my brother look good because I thought he was going to come out and do some dangerous stuff. But, so I'm not going to start naming, but I would tell you, I love everything that Larenz does. I don't know about you all. Amen.
Thank you, Madam Treasurer.
But let me also tell you, I am so proud of this young man to know that he's from the west side of Chicago. And let me say this, there is some good that comes from Chicago. And we need to be reminded of that. And all the young people need to know that just like Larenz made it, and he's going to talk about his family, his brothers, they're doing work together. We have to learn as family to work together and not fight one another. Because we can do this, and Larenz is going to tell us how.
That's right. I just had to establish that. I will say, I know you say you weren't going to choose.
What's your favorite?
Listen, I love you as Councilman Tate, don't get me wrong. but I'm a Love Jones girl. I don't know
Love
about
Jones.
y'all. I'm a Love Jones girl.
Yeah. Oh, brother to the night, the Love
Oh.
Jones. Darius Love. Yeah.
I
they
just,
like that.
you know, I have a feeling that might be why a lot of our, look, I know y'all want wealth building, but I have a feeling they came to see Darius.
Look, Darius,
I might
yeah,
be
yeah.
wrong.
Well, I appreciate that whatever the projects you all have supported and whatever is your favorite, it means a lot to me, way more than awards, and that's always nice to be acknowledged. But when you have a career and a body of work that touches people's lives in some way or another, like a great musical song that's your favorite song that you go to. When you can have a movie or TV show or a character that people feel something for, it really is the greatest honor and the greatest reward. So I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much.
I want to get into your upbringing. How did you get into the world of acting? As we already established, you're from the west side of Chicago. How did this all come about?
It's a really simple, easy story. You know, coming from the west side, my mother and father wanted my brothers to have some other things going on. So anyway, our father went to Los Angeles to continue his education in the education field. He's been in the education field for many years, and we were here in Chicago. And my father didn't want his 3 sons, you know, away from him while he was away for years, attaining his goals in the education. And so he decided to make sure that my brothers and I, along with our mother, moved to Los Angeles. And when we went there, you know, we was very energetic. Now, we're talking about the 80s, right? 1980s. We're very energetic. But when we moved to LA, we thought it was all glitz and glamour. We had, you know, palm trees. We had grass out there in front of the apartment building, and we thought this was like, you know, the best thing. But what we didn't realize is that the neighborhood that we had moved into was changing. So a lot of the drug epidemic was coming in, a lot of different things. And my parents didn't want us to become products of our environment. So they got us into performing arts to keep us busy, to kind of keep us out of the streets, if you will. And so we went to a performing arts school that offered music and theater, dance, fashion, all this cool stuff. And there was a lot of cute girls there, so we definitely wanted to be there, right? And so long story short, we got involved in the industry from that point. We never went to Los Angeles to become actors or be in the entertainment business. We just went there for some other opportunities. And thanks to our parents, they got us involved in the performing arts. And from there, our careers have taken off, yeah. So thanks to moms and pops. But the thing about it, I can say, whatever it was, they said, keep in mind, y'all are from Chicago. We live in LA, y'all from the Chi. And so they made sure while we was going to school, when our summer breaks, our winter breaks, spring breaks, 100% of that was spent in Chicago. So I never really spent summers in LA. It was always here. I always spent my winter breaks here, you know what I mean, just to stay connected. Once we got out of school, we moved back to the Chi, and we did, you know, since the 90s, we've been between Los Angeles and Chicago the whole time. So we've never really left the crib. Yeah.
Now, parents, I want you to hear something, though. And I know you caught that because I caught it. He said that his parents wanted to keep them busy. And at the time, his parents did not know that starting him in the performance arts, that would lead him to where he is today. But his parents were being proactive. So let's hear the word of the day, proactive.
Proactive.
Proactive. And so I want to ask you, because as Samantha opened up, we're talking about all the different projects that you have done. I mean, we've been seeing you since high school through college. Look at you now. Look like you're still in college. You ain't aged a bit. But
thank you.
What project was really transformative, though? When I say like life-changing for you, professionally, personally, what was it that really changed you? What was it?
It was a combination of them. The one that I can think of that I felt like I was going from a young adolescence into adulthood was the movie Dead Presidents, where I played Anthony Dawes. And I'll tell you why. It was the first time that in my career I went away and worked on a project by myself. Usually I've always had my two brothers, LaRon and Lamar, they're here somewhere. They have always been around me, my parents, but that was the movie. I went to New York and I stayed that whole time. And I felt like I became a young adult, a young man in that role. And being around some great, talented people, you know, we didn't really know what we were creating, but we knew we were creating something special. And it allowed me to kind of be on my own and find my real independence. I'm in this big city of New York doing this fantastic film, but finding who I was, finding my own identity, finding who Larenz was away from everyone else. And so it was really a great moment in time for me. The next project would be Love Jones. Coming back to Chicago, finding a way to do something that reflected the city, a great story that made sure that, can y'all hear me? That black folks were looked and seen in a different light. We weren't hostile. We weren't, you know, fighting each other.
No trauma.
All, you know, this infighting and this trauma. The only thing that was hurt was somebody's heart. You know what I mean? That was the only thing that we were trying to make sure that we can see us in a very human-like way. And that movie really transformed a lot for me as a young man as well. Just seeing who I was as a person and the kinds of things, and I wanted to be intentional about making sure that I do good projects. I want to make sure that those who are watching me can be proud of the kinds of things that I'm doing. Dead Presidents. And Love Jones were transformational for me as I became, you know, a young adolescent into a grown man. Those were those two movies, yeah.
That's awesome. So, obviously, like you say, from the West Side, came from humble beginnings. You all went to LA. I mean, your career eventually took off. We're talking about wealth building.
Yes.
We're talking about finances. So I'm curious, and let me know
Let's talk about this money.
Let's talk about this money.
Let's talk about this money.
So sometimes we see celebrities when they get their big break and they start making a lot of money, they
Yes.
start spending that money.
Right.
They start giving that money away.
Yes.
How did you avoid falling into that trap of, I'm going to spend it all on everybody, and then ultimately end up broke?
Right. Well, I'll tell y'all, I had a very unique situation. Because I was so young, starting out in the early 80s, the thing about it, when you are a child actor or artist, when you get your money, they have to put a portion of that away until you are of age. So a lot of the money when I was, you know, I did, let's say for instance, I did a guest star on the TV show Family Matters, right? So I was about 14 years old when I did that little role as Willie Fuffner. Y'all remember me? I was bullying Urkel. Anyway, when I got that money, a portion of that money went to an account that I would not be able to get to until I was of age, 18 or 21. And my parents made sure that any of the money I made went to these accounts, but it was also by the law, so it was cool. And I had an interesting vantage point growing up, being so young and watching so many adults who are in the industry spend a lot of money and then have tax problems, or they lose their houses, they lose their cars, or their family structure is broken. And I had the unique vantage point to see what not to do, what pitfalls to avoid. I saw a lot of them, you know, have substance abuse issues. That causes financial problems, aside from emotional and spiritual and the whole thing, when you're dealing with substance issues. It's just one of those things that I did not want that to happen to me. And I saw how the crippling effect that it had. It really destroyed a lot of people's lives. And it was tough for them to get back from that. And just in general, with my nature, I don't like to spend a lot of money. I don't like to spend a lot of money on things that I don't need, right? You know what I mean? I find myself spending money on things that I want, that I need, and certain things that I want. And I was always mindful about, the money that was going out. I was always mindful about that. Once I got of age, I said, I'm going to save my money. I'm going to put it into places, and I might save it for a rainy day. Why? Because I'm in an industry that has highs and lows. Sometimes you can get a lot of money one year, and you're doing well, and then the next 2 years down the road, you may not be working as much, but you got to hold on to that money, right? So what are you doing? The industry of entertainment, there's highs and lows. We're not going to always make the same amount of money. You're going to have great years and you're going to have terrible years. And I tell you this, when the terrible years hit, man, it's the craziest thing. But what do? So for me, I always wanted to have something that I didn't have to go and ask or borrow or knock on a friend's door and say, hey, man, I need this. Not that I would, I'm too prideful, but I just didn't want to be that person. And I found myself being the person that people would come to when they needed stuff.
So I want to make certain that's enough to clap for. I'm like the church lady. I'm the amen corner.
Amen.
So when he says something that I want to make certain you all hold on to, I repeat it. And I believe in repeating things. Bear with me, I'm the mother of an 8-year-old, so I repeat things to make certain she heard it. But Larenz said he spends money on what he needs and on some things he wants. Did you hear that? Now this Larenz Tate talking. He spends money on what he needs and on some things he wants. That's a priority.
Yes.
But then Larenz also said he's mindful that while he's making money today, he doesn't know what tomorrow will hold. So what that means is that he has to save money and not spend everything that he has made today because he doesn't know about tomorrow. You heard that. So I want Larenz, because he just mentioned his two brothers. And let me tell you all, his two brothers are legends within themselves. But they are all such humble men that they actually ride together, kick it together when they have an opportunity because they're brothers. Talk to us as we talk about building wealth and generational wealth. Your family, the Tate family, is a perfect example, you all as brothers. Talk to us about how you have built that within your family.
I'll say this, that my brothers, not only they're my best friends, they're my partners. It's just great to be able to have people, people that you trust. And the one thing about us, we have to learn to start trusting each other more, specifically as it relates to the Black community, right? We've always been taught not to trust each other. You can't trust you don't trust that Black. You know how that is, but we have to get out of that headspace. Start looking to each other and trust. Start with your family. And sometimes even family some people that are hard to trust, those who are closest to you, because they don't understand the fundamental value of what that trust means to each other. There's no reason for us to do each other dirty or backdoor each other. You know what I mean? So one of those things that our parents instilled in us was the togetherness, the groupism, and to look out for each other. My brother's keeper. I do the same thing for them. They do the same thing for me. And so as we navigate through our career, as we navigate through the world, we understand that we need money in order to thrive in a real way. For me personally, now that I have done great, I've had a lot of great opportunities in my life. I've accomplished, few things that I'm really proud of. One of the things about that, I keep in mind that I have a lot of responsibility. And for that, that financial wealth, that financial prosperity and generational wealth is really important. And a lot of us didn't understand what that was. What is generational wealth? It is the thing that allows us to make sure those who are coming behind us have access to the resources, that things that they can, make things a little easier, right? Resources and opportunities. And a lot of times as a culture, or sometimes as a community, not all of us, we don't really inherit a lot of financial support, if you will, right? So we oftentimes inherit debt. We want to be the ones to break that. We want to be able to find a way to break that debt. Do not pass down debt to your children. Pass down assets. Pass down things that we can sustain for a long time. And one of those things was, like, for me, I was just always curious about, how do we make money and how do we sustain money, right? How do you continue to keep that going? A lot of it is saving, but also how you spend it is really important. And for me, I always look in my own household. About how much money is coming in and be mindful of how much going out. Now, just keep in mind, here's an example. If you have a great year and you're making X amount of dollars, you got to make sure that you're spending accordingly to what you're bringing in. Because if you're spending all this money and it's all the stuff that's going out, but you're not bringing in, how are you going to sustain your bills? How are you going to sustain the lifestyle that you want? And how do you have something sustainable for those who are coming after you, right? So we're very mindful. And my thing is, my children, I have, my wife and I have four sons, 18.
He's married, y'all.
Yeah. Yeah. We have 18, 16, 11, 10, and 6. And all my boys understand that we sit down and we talk about finances. We talk about how we can earn. I say, you all are men, right? And so a part of this society is that men are expected to be earners. You know, you have to earn. You have to be able to be someone that can take care of yourself, but also take care of your family. As a man, these are part of the duties that I'm instilling into my sons. Like, y'all got to be responsible, not only for yourselves, but for your loved ones as well, right? And so we have to keep in mind of how our spending and how we make this money. And what I can say is that it's not an easy feat. It is not something that I have all the answers to. A lot of this stuff is trial and error, right? There's been times where I've spent money on things that I know I shouldn't have done that. But fortunately, it didn't put me in a hole, right? So I'm always looking to make sure that there's some balance. And I also surround myself with people who are very knowledgeable about money. If you don't know about money, find people who have an interest, who understand money and how to attain it and how to sustain it. It's very clear. You know, if you don't understand it, find a way to learn it.
I have one last question. I'm turning it back over to our great moderator, Samantha. But when you just spoke about family, you and your brothers, how you trust one another, and how you're teaching your sons, imparting in them how you have to earn your money. You have to work for your money. You all hear that? Earn your money, work for your money, and provide for your family. Talk to us, those that are out here. You gave some great nuggets about if we don't necessarily know how to be good stewards of money, finances, find someone that can advise you. Doesn't have to be a professional advisor. It could be a friend, a family member, a neighbor, or coworker that knows how to manage money. But talk to the families out here that don't even know where to begin, Larenz. How do they build and sustain? But you spoke about, because we don't want to just build and sustain for today. We want to pass it down to generations. And Larenz said, we're not passing down debt. We're passing down assets. Y'all hear that? Assets. Homes, those are assets. That's what we're passing down. Talk to the families about how to build and sustain through the next generation.
Group economics, groupism. We're not going to do it all by ourselves. We need each other. That's why I said it starts with that trust. So the groupism is really important. You can, if you have a solid group that can all contribute to some capacity, we can all win. We see a lot of times when people who may not be from America come from America, they all stay in one place. They get in, and they don't care about how many cars they got, they'll all get into one place and they understand a goal of groupism, right? So what they'll do is the kids will go to school. Not everybody will go to college, but they'll pick up a trade. Trades are really important. Skills in trades are really important. We need to make sure that we're doing skills and trades. The other thing is that once one gets enough money or attains something, they buy something. They open up a small business, whatever it is, whether if it's a cleaners, whether it's a local grocery store, whether it's a service that they can provide for the community, and that becomes successful. The whole time, the children are watching how they run that business, trial and error. So now, once the children are out of college or out of school and have worked in that same business, they take it over, and then they open up another one, and it becomes a community. Oftentimes in our own community, we're not owning the things that we patronize. We go to these stores, we go to these buildings. We don't even own them, but the ownership, like Madam Treasurer said, we got to own things, homes, small businesses, and find ways to sustain those small businesses, whatever they may be. Everybody's not going to have the entrepreneurial spirit, but in the group, there should always be at least one. We all ain't got to own, but at least if we can say one of y'all are going to do this, and we're going to gather around that person or that individual to make sure that they win. Even if that means we have to have some sacrifice for ourselves in order for the group to ultimately win. And it's not about, oh, this child is doing well and this one is not, and so we're going to give this one all the praise and forget about this one. No, everybody is not on the same time. And everybody's not on the same frequency, but we can understand that groupism. So I say one thing about us, we got to find ways to find jobs or create our own jobs, find ways to, my brothers and I will tell you one of the things that we're looking to do with the Tate Brothers Foundation. We're really about creating the workplace and the workforce. Skills is really important. Trades. We want to create trades here and opportunities for people to work in our industry, right? The talent that can work in our industry in front of the camera, but really behind the scenes. And what I mean by that is carpenters, electricians, people who do the water and plumbing. There's people who do roofing, the roofers. There's a whole unions about this. Who built this stage that I'm sitting on right now? Who put this stuff up? Who's doing the microphones? Who's running the cameras? I mean, I'm gonna keep it real. So when we're not doing the things in front of the camera as TV shows, they can take those skills and those trades and work here at UIC. They can work at the United Center. They can do things at other places. They can build and rebuild the South Side. They can rebuild the West Side. But we have to be able to have those skills and trades. A lot of people who are not, first generation or any generation from here are coming to handle those jobs and create that. Those are the things I tell all the time when people want to be in the industry. I say, it's great to see me in front of the camera, but I can't be in front of the camera without the camera operators. I can't have it without the person that's doing the sound. And most of those people don't look like us. Now, that may not be your interest, but you can take that skill and transfer it into something else. It's really important. So those are some of the things that we have to keep in mind. When we talk about ownership, if your grandmother or granddad has passed down a home or property, make sure you get it out of probate, put it in a trust that is the family trust, right? So that the other people aren't making the decisions over your family's asset. Those assets are really important. Home ownership is really important because if you own that house or that piece of property, anything that you want to do, let's say start a business or invest in something, you can borrow against that asset. You can borrow against that. So if you have a home and you need to start a business, you go to the bank will then say, okay, you have this piece of property. You can take out that loan as a small business loan against that property, and now you have a property, and you're not asking how do we do it. This is how you do it. I tell my sons all the time, I say the house that we're in is y'all's for the future. You can always, it's your bank. It's your own bank. This house is your own bank because it's all in y'all's name. It's in a trust. It's in y'all's name. So when it's time for y'all to do whatever y'all want to do, you don't have to say, Dad, I need $5,000 or $10,000. I say, go to the bank and we can draw from the house. And I can still maintain what I'm doing. So whatever the property is, even if it's a fixer-up, even if it's a $10,000 property, whatever the property, the asset is important. And then the land, the actual land that you have is really important. And because you make those decisions. So when we go on the west side or we go on the south side, how many vacant lots do y'all see on the west side? Let me tell you, per capita, the west side and some of the south side got the most vacant lots per capita. In North Lawndale, in the Austin area where I'm from, there's a combination of 3,000 empty lots right now. 3,000. Why is that? We got to fix that. And we live there. We walking right past these lots, but they're valuable. And it's all a matter of time for corporations and companies to come in, offer y'all some money, take your deed or your grandmama's deed from y'all and build on that. And put properties and put businesses that you will not own or operate. Understand what this is. And we're in the 2024. We can talk freely and comfortably about this because it's time to change it. It's been time. The west side, the way it's looking in some of the areas, it's a beautiful. We got some of the most beautiful parks on the south side, some of the most beautiful, parks on the west side, but it belongs to the city. What are we going to do? So attain that property if you can. Why? Good credit. When your kids are established with great credit, then they're the ones who can do it. A lot of us struggle with having good credit, right? Straighten out your credit, And so what happens is with the credit, what I find is that even in my own personal life, buying things that I don't need and buying stuff that I want. And the credit cards is because we swiping. I ain't gotta dig in my pocket. I'm just swiping. We just going out.
And now you can take your phone.
You can take your phone now. And so I tell my wife, I say, baby, God, I say, have you seen this credit card bill? And she's like, but it's all the stuff that we need. We got to get, I said, y'all don't even grocery shop no more. You don't even go in there. You got Instacart every 2 seconds. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, it's like, no, let's go to the grocery store. Let's go down aisle 8.
Y'all hear Larenz?
Let's go down and let's figure this out. I said, I'm like, woo, these prices is high. They're getting the food delivered every 2 seconds. And my sons, they on the video games. They ordering stuff off the video games, man. Why these video games cost so much? And I got to get an extra $10 for this. I need to get an extra $20 for this. I'm like, and then it goes away. You only got X amount of time to pay for that. You know how many times we done seen a $300, a charge? Figure it out, man. Y'all got to work this off some kind of way, man. So understand, I tell them, y'all messing up my credit. The kids, I'm blaming the kids.
Not the
blaming
wife,
the
not
damn
the wife.
kids for my credit score. No, but keep in mind, be very mindful. So when we can start off our children very early, whether they're coming out of high school, whether they're coming out of college, let's establish really good credit if we can, so that we can find ways to leverage that so we can get some properties, some small businesses. Trust me, we're so far behind the curve that me saying this is not going to shake up the apple cart in America. Trust me. If all of us in this room owned a house and owned a business, we still wouldn't make a dent in the marginalization of us. We still wouldn't make a dent. And that's just a fact. Debate me on it and fact check me on it. No one can, because I'm telling the truth. So don't be afraid. It's okay for us to own some stuff and for us to govern over ourselves.
This is what you call free game. Free game, free advice. We know we're talking money. We know not all money is good money. Has there been a situation where you had to turn a project down because it just didn't feel right with your spirit and your morals? And if so, how do you determine what projects you will take and which ones, like, you know what, this is great money, but this is not a part of what I want to be?
There's been a lot of times, a lot of my career, I have definitely turned down projects that was just, it was just a money grab. because the audiences will know. It won't pass the sniff test. People will be like, yo, he's doing that just for the money. And it's really hard sometimes to stay consistent and relevant in the entertainment industry because Hollywood gatekeepers or Hollywood decision makers love to get amnesia about who you are. Why? Because it's a bottom line. It's an industry. How can I get high valued talent for a little bit of money? I know you used to do that. I know you used to do that. Where are you now? And if I'm taking a break from doing projects that just don't make sense and it's not going to, pay me what I need, but also it's just not great career building. Well, then they may say, well, you haven't been doing a whole lot right now. So they like to get amnesia. But the public is like, no, he's worth that. That's valuable, right? So it's an interesting thing that I've had to experience going through Hollywood, turning things down, that I ultimately felt like this is just a money grab, but this project and these kinds of roles will be the end. Like, I'm not gonna make any money. And then I'll go do a project, it's not about the money. Take care of me, it's cool, but it's not about the money. I'm doing it because this is the right project to do. Let me tell you that. I'll give a really good example. Power. Any Power fans in there? Y'all know about Power? Okay. Everybody. Okay, so originally, they wanted me to come onto the TV show Power to play a lawyer. The lawyer who had an affair with Tasha. It was the lawyer who eventually Ghost got rid of. Gotcha. They wanted me to play that character. Gotcha. I was away doing another project that my brothers and I were producing, and I couldn't do it. And at the time, the reps and the people that I was working with didn't really want me to do Power. They just thought I should be on a primetime show or something else and go guest star somewhere else. But I was like, no, that show is important to the culture. The community is watching that. I need to go and do one of those shows because the things that I was doing for, all these other years that was TV, a lot of the culture in the community wasn't watching it. So they've been like, what have you been doing? I'm like, I'm on this show over here, I'm on this show, but we haven't been watching it. And I felt it was important. And against, their thought process, I said, I'm gonna go do the show. So I talked to the creator of the show, Courtney Kemp and 50 Cent and everybody, and I said, listen, whatever y'all want me to do, I'm down to come in. I like to play somebody that's smart and intelligent, and let's do that. And Courtney said, I have a councilman, a politician. Would you be willing to play it? I said, yeah, I'll play it for whatever. I'll do one episode, and I don't really care. I got paid literally peanuts compared to what I got to. And my agents went crazy. Why are you doing this? You didn't tell us. I said, because I don't need your permission to do the things that I want to do with the community, and that makes sense to me. I don't need your permission. It's a show that you wouldn't watch anyway because it don't speak to you. So I got my own mind. I said, I'm cool. So as I dealt with the show, it was great. I did more than one episode. I was a guest star. They invited me to come back. Courtney was great. We're going to do all these great things. Amari, everybody, 50, everybody's like, this is great. I'm like, yeah, I'm down to do it. Again, the agent's like, are you sure you want to be on that show? I said, here's the deal. I'm going to negotiate this without y'all. Yeah. I'm going to negotiate it with the lawyer who's a brother that understands. He rocks with it. And I'm going to give y'all money. When we started negotiating the kind of money that we got, they was like, this is the best show. This is great. And of course, that was their last check because I said, y'all got to go. I'm gonna just go.
The boss. He's his own boss. You hear that?
Yeah, I'm gonna go do what I need to do, right? And that was really important for me, right? So transformational moments in my career. This is what I'm talking about. I started this process on Power with making very, very a small amount. So much that after taxes and paying everybody, I didn't have any money. It was basically I did it on the love. But I was okay with it because it spoke to my spirit. It spoke to me. It spoke to y'all. And I'm like, cool. And I didn't know that it would ultimately gained me, more involvement with the show. And the more I got involved with the show, the more valuable that the network understood I had. So y'all know how valuable I am. So we went to go negotiate. I made up for all the time. And we good money over here. We straight. We straight. We good.
And one thing that I love about you and everything that you've built, I mean, think about it, from your earlier projects to I'm sure you have teens and younger coming up to you, calling you Councilman Tate. It has to be pretty amazing for you to see, these generations of people. I mean, you're a cross-generational talent, and not everybody can say that. And you're from the west side of Chicago. Like, this has to be a beautiful feeling and an incredible time in your life, I would think.
It is a beautiful feeling. It is incredible. I'm truly grateful. I'm thankful. And I just want to continue to do the things that I feel that the Most High has ordained me to do, and that's to share a talent, but also have moments like this where I can share my story, my journey as I'm continuously going on the journey. You all, it's a two-way situation. It's just not me saying go watch, my films or my TV show. I want to listen to what y'all got going on. I want to listen to the heartbeat and the pulse of the community, right? Because there's so much that we can accomplish. And in front of the camera, I do my thing, but there's so many different things that I'm really passionate about, that my family, my mother and father, my brothers, that we're doing, right? That my children can look at me and say, Dad, are you going to film, or are you going to go do a speaking engagement and talk to the community? Are you going to look for more property to attain? Are you finding ways to build? I'm like, yeah, so when y'all come home to Chicago, we say, my dad owns that, we own that, we got that, and then we're going to keep that. And so that's what's happening. And right here in Chicago is so many opportunities, man. I told y'all, we got, just on the west side alone, in one district, 3,000 vacant lots. That belongs to us because we there. Don't think that it belongs to anybody else. It belongs to us. On the south side, it belongs to us. All right? So just understand, let's lock in group economics, groupism, and let's continue to trust each other and love on each other. I appreciate y'all.
Let's give a big hand to Larenz Tate.
Now, we're going to take a picture right here, but I'm going to make an executive decision. I know the next person is coming up, but I'm going to tell you all, this right here, what you just heard over this last hour, I don't know how you feel about it, but it was life-changing for me. Do you hear me? We need to talk like this. Now, we see him in the TV shows, but we need to hear this, what he just said. And so we're grateful to him and all the Tate brothers for everything that they do, and they never forget Chicago.
Thank you for tuning in to Money Mondays with Melissa. We hope you enjoyed today's session and found value in the topic of discussion. Follow Chicago City Treasurer on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn to stay on top of all upcoming events. Remember, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to the Chicago Treasurer's Office at 312-744-3356 or visit www.chicagocitytreasurer.com. We'll see you next time for Money Mondays with Melissa.